Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR Today, Friday morning, July 24th, 2020. I'm the man they call Meathead, and as known across the rest of the country as well, or at least I'm trying to get it started, it's White Castle Day, folks. A Craver case grilled on top of a bed of onions. Once again, White Castle, call me. If you haven't done this already, and I notice you guys have, especially because it's starting to catch up now with the other content on our in our family here with the PWR show, like and subscribe, because you know what? You're getting notifications when new shows are popping up. Last night, literally, I think they went an hour 40 minutes on the Super Show with Shane Helms, Dave Hero, and Damian Nelson talking about all the wrestling content that happened last week. And so, speaking of wrestling content, we got some news, and to talk to us about that news, it's Matthew Thomas. Morning, Matthew.
Oh, good morning to you. Speaking of ketchup, what type of condiments do you prefer on your White Castle treats, Meathead?
On my White Castle?
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever they make it with, the works. So it's onions. It might be a little ketchup. It might be a little mustard. If I'm making the burger myself, I'm a special dude, man. My favorite burger of all time is the mushroom Swiss. I particularly enjoy a mushroom gravy on there, like a la Hardee's or a Carl's Jr. style. Also, I've been known to make my own. I do enjoy a teriyaki based and glaze across my burger with my sauteed mushrooms. So
is Wisconsin, is that Hardee's territory, or is that Carl's Jr.
Hardee's,
Jr.
but
territory?
Hardee's is almost gone. So the Milwaukee area has one. I'm in the Fox Valley area, which is closer to Green Bay up north, and they're pretty prominent, but it's definitely Hardee's. Carl's Jr., I think, is on the left side of the Mississippi.
Yeah, because I hail from Hardy territory, but it's in Colorado, they're at Carl's Jr. So, kind of very almost the same deal, but I'm a Hardee's person, man. I can't get used to the Carl's Jr. name. It just doesn't feel right.
No, it doesn't feel right. But, I talk about the mushroom Swiss. Actually, you know what I use as a condiment on the bun a lot of times, too? Mayonnaise.
I'm a huge mayonnaise fan. Mayonnaise on burgers. Mayonnaise,
I mean,
just about
I'm
anything.
Kidding. That's a Undercover Brother reference.
Hey, what? I am genuinely a mayonnaise fan. So I do not get your reference. All I get is a genuine and heartfelt appreciation for mayonnaise.
You want to really see something funny that's disgusting with mayonnaise, but funny at the same time? Go look on Stars. If you don't have Stars, I know they got a free trial, but Undercover Brother, Eddie Griffin, Dave Chappelle, Denise Richards. It is fantastic. But let's talk wrestling. We got hot news, and we're talking about food 2 days in a row here. Damian was on the program yesterday, too, and he told me that he's a big fan of the crinkle-cut French fry.
Yeah, that's respectable.
Okay, so Matthew, we got news. Did you see the video yet of Adam Cole on the Pat McAfee show?
Not yet. I actually just heard about it for the first time from you just moments ago. So that is breaking news. I mean, this program is such hot breaking news that sometimes the news breaks to me on the program.
Well, there you go. The consensus on the interwebs in the IWC is that it's a work. Sure felt like a shoot, because if it's a shoot, I'd buy it. But if it's a work, I'd say congratulations to Adam Cole, because he was hot and he was saying it. We're in 2020, man. F-bombs aren't as sacrilege as they used to be, and the video I watched was unedited. So Adam came in hot, and really, Adam Cole has Napoleon syndrome. Do you know what Napoleon syndrome is? I would think you might know.
Because I'm a history scholar, is that why? Because I'm very well versed in world history. Yes, I would know. Yes, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate the my accolades to my knowledge of all things, my well-roundedness, if you will.
Joke out of the way now. Do you know what Napoleon syndrome is?
Of course I do. It's a little bit of maybe overcompensation for other various attributes.
It's little man syndrome is what it is. It's it's named after a what was his real title? Was he an emperor? No, he was he wasn't a dictator. What was he? He was what was Napoleon? I mean, basically he tried to take over all of Europe. But
yes,
he had a chip on his shoulder because of his size.
As in monkey, he had a pet monkey?
Yes, he had a pet monkey on his shoulder. That's really the part of history that we don't get taught enough.
Yeah. That's the fun part, man. I need to go after this show. I'm going to research Napoleon and his monkey.
Napoleon and monkey, you might have to put the porn filter on. So, but Adam Cole to me seems to have Napoleon syndrome, because once Pat McAfee mentioned size to Adam Cole, gloves were off and the F-bombs were out. Pat McAfee, while Adam Cole had a small little dig at him, goes, dude, you were a punter. But then again, Pat McAfee was punter of the decade. I mean, he was good at his job. And Pat McAfee, for those that don't know, after playing the NFL, got an instant WWE contract for 10 years to produce content for World Wrestling Entertainment. So it's not like he's never been with the WWE before. We've seen him on different shows doing different things. So to me personally, I think it's a work, but it's okay, because if it is a work, like I said, Adam Cole looked legit. And you know what? I heard Dave and Shane and Damian, excuse me. I heard Dave and Damian and Shane talk about it yesterday on the Super Show. I think I'm enunciating wrong on that one. I think Damian says Super Show instead of Super Show. I might have the wrong word. But this makes a great point. Keep Adam Cole away from the title situation if you're going to keep him in NXT. Because if he's not going up to the main show, what else is he going to do?
Yeah, which that's not to be confused with the Supper Show, which is you and I talking about food. That's the Supper Show. But
so we lead in the Supper Show into the PWR Today?
Yeah, that's the spinoff of PWR Today is the Supper Show. No, I'm really interested to see where this goes. Who knows? Maybe we have another WrestleMania 11 on our hands.
WrestleMania 11. That was Taylor and Bam Bam, right?
Mm-hmm. In the main event.
Be honest.
You know what? That was before Mongo was with WCW. I think Mongo was ringside as well.
And I know Reggie White was in there as well, wasn't he?
Yep.
Was Kevin Green there?
I don't know if Kevin Green was. I think Ken Norton Jr. was, though.
Yeah. Well, the first football player in the modern WWF, WWE days was the Fridge back on WrestleMania 2. But honestly, football guys, when they were done with their season, a lot of them used to go wrestle, in the off season to make money. Think of like Wahoo McDaniel. I mean, a great wrestler, but he played professional football. It was an easy transition for a lot of the guys. And, football players always used to mock wrestling, saying, I mean, it's fake, it's phony, whatever. But not every football player could do a wrestling job, because these guys are coordinated. These guys are limber. They got their cardio up. Wrestling's the real deal, folks. So, I'm excited also to see what comes of this. WWE needs this to buzz around the internet for a few days. Does it make it to Wednesday? Does it make it to Monday? I mean, who's to say? But they need this to buzz around the internet. They need to talk about it on their other outlets, just kind of casually mention it in a tweet, maybe on the old Instagram or the Facebook page, and just let it simmer for a little bit before you pull it out again.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something like that is especially needed now. I mean, things are very monotonous.
Well, I mean, now more than ever in these trying times.
Yes, indeed. So, anything that you can get some buzz, and it's not another just standard Raw or SmackDown, anything that's kind of off the cuff a little bit that gets people talking right now is a good thing. So I look forward to seeing, where this takes us.
Well, let's take it to SmackDown tonight on Fox. Speaking of Pat McAfee, Fox, segue over to SmackDown on Fox. We were supposed to get this on Extreme Rules, the horror show, but apparently to pop ratings, because I don't know how this is going to pop ratings, but we're going to get this on SmackDown tonight. Hopefully the culmination, the end, the be-all, end-all of Jeff Hardy and his problems with Sheamus. Matthew, it's a bar fight, and I'm going to make the assumption they already taped it before Sunday and just didn't air it, and they'll just air it this week. It makes sense, but it's got to be off-site. Don't have a bar in the Performance Center. Don't do it in the Performance Center. Have it, somewhere in Florida, somewhere on the coast, somewhere. I mean, whatever you got to do. I'm curious to see what it looks like, but it honestly has to end. And I think Jeff Hardy has to go over on this.
Yeah, one would certainly hope. I don't know how much more you can drag this on, and how many people, if anybody really wants to see that. That being said, Yeah, yeah. That being said, though, I mean, one thing that took this away from the pay-per-view. So I did not watch the pay-per-view live. When I started it, it of course had the runtime for the whole show. I was very, very surprised to see like a 2 hour and 44-minute runtime to the pay-per-view. So I mean, I think they did a couple things here.
That's the COVID era,
Yeah,
Matthew. Since after WrestleMania, pay-per-views do not make it to 3 hours and usually 2:30 to 2:45.
Yeah, that's very true. And I mean, if we had this on the show, it probably would have pushed it, a little bit further than that. And the same thing too. Randy Orton Big Show was originally slated for the pay-per-view, I believe. So you would have probably definitely gone north of that 3 hours if you put both of those there. I'm fine.
So they couldn't take the MVP Apollo Crews thing off?
Of course not. Of course not. That was that's what I was looking forward most to in the pay-per-view. I mean, that's why I bought it. And by bought it, I mean had the WWE debit my credit card for $10 and change or whatever it currently is. But no, I mean, it's giving us it's giving us an actual booked match on SmackDown, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, I am looking forward to seeing, what they do with this, and hopefully that period they put at the end of the sentence. It's hard to imagine that we get a full-fledged exclamation point at the end of this sentence, but period. Hopefully not a semicolon.
Well, I don't like to ever talk colons when we're talking about wrestling matches because it's not Extreme Rules anymore. Let's segue off of that into, thank you, I'll be here all week. Let's segue off of that into something that I found pop up on the WWE Network. And Matthew, I know you've watched it and I've watched it. And how this guy is not airing this stuff on Raw or SmackDown, I don't understand, because it's entertaining to me. It's the R-Truth game show. Didn't know that R-Truth had a cat thing, but
yeah,
R-Truth, he really drops character when it comes to the cast and just stares and never mind. I don't want to. Your thoughts on the R-Truth game show and where this could go?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it just reaffirms what a treasure R-Truth is. And this was fun. It just what the world needs right now. I mean,
is love, sweet love.
Is love, sweet love, and R-Truth. And 30 minutes of just something you really don't have to think a lot about. Something you pay attention to, but it doesn't involve too much of your mental energy. And just such a great personality. There's another fun feature on here, the scavenger hunts, where he's got the superstar he's got over Zoom or Skype. It's
running recklessly through the house while holding the phone, staring at your face.
And going back to this too, the trivia question. So I mean, just kind of the dry, cerebral stuff. Like the first two questions, the first two quote unquote trivia questions to Natalya were questions about her family. I mean,
what's the name of the dungeon? Oh, you got it. Nice.
Yeah, and then the scavenger hunt, it's a couple of reasonable things. And then it's find a piece of leftover birthday cake. I mean, just fantastic. And you just see it register for a second, on Natalya's face. Oh, let me go. It's like, wait a minute, I don't have leftover birthday cake.
Well, I'm going to send you some. Here it comes in an envelope.
Yeah. Just really good stuff. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. If you haven't seen this, check it out. I mean, I'm one of those people who I'm kind of guilty of watching the documentaries and the more in-depth stuff, and a lot of the series and stuff like this tends to kind of get put on the back burner, but this is definitely worth 30 minutes of your time each week.
One more thing I caught on the network, and folks, go check out the R-Truth game show. We didn't really talk about it because we're done with the Undertaker stuff. We saw 5 chapters of The Last Ride, saw serious and heavy stuff. Now, they've got Undertaker stories airing with little cartoon, drawings to go along with it. I feel like a dunce in this. Undertaker has had this tattoo on him forever, and I never knew what it stood for, BSK. Do you know what it stands for?
That's the Bone Street Crew.
Bone Street Crew.
Yep.
So the Bone Street Crew is his boys, the guys that he was on the road with. The Undertaker crew, the Bone Street Crew, with guys like Godfather and Yokozuna, Bradshaw, and those kind of guys. I thought it was fantastic. It was something new to kind of learn, even though it's probably been out there. I just didn't pay attention to it. I keep hearing very limited stories about the plane ride from hell. We know it because we're old enough to have been around, and the internet's been around since the plane ride from hell. There was a lot more that happened on that plane ride, and all we hear about right now is Taker wrestling, or Taker getting woken up with a sliced ear while Angle and McMahon wrestle underneath his feet.
My goodness. As time goes by, it's amazing what comes out about that notorious flight. Yeah, it's
well, that's the one where Michael PSA got his hair, like his ponytail cut too, I thought.
Was it? Yeah, I guess it was it Hayes? I guess it was Hayes.
I feel like that happened too.
And apparently there's some alleged Ric Flair involvement too.
Well, come on, that you know what? Rick's not here to defend himself, but I'll stand up for Rick. That's not involvement. Ric Flair does that on every flight. He does it on Greyhound buses. He takes all his clothes off, puts his throw back on, and goes up and down the aisles yelling "woo woo woo" naked.
Yeah, it sounds pretty par for the course.
Yeah, that's not alleged. Come on now, that's something that's been going on for years.
Fantastic.
So this is, and it happened in 2002. So they were coming from Europe. Remember who was all in the company at that point? Scott Hall was still in the company. Justin Credible was still in the company. X-Pac was still in the company. Mr. Perfect was still with the company.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
There is one story, and I know I took it a different way, but there is a story that Ric Flair was accused of harassment against one of the flight attendants too. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. I'm not a lawyer, but as far as him going up and down the aisle in his Ric Flair robe without his pants on, probably happened.
I mean, it's not. It doesn't seem like a stretch.
So here's what I have so far. Former pro wrestler Michael Hayes got on the bad side of JBL, who had just had a match earlier at the pay-per-view against X-Pac. JBL, then known as Bradshaw, suffered a gash on his head, and Hayes goes up to him while he was resting on him and hits him in the forehead. Wow. That led to JBL punching out Hayes and someone cutting off his ponytail while he was asleep. Hayes was also accused for urinating on Linda McMahon. Oh, my God. Come on now. Wow. Wow.
Well, we got part of that story, man, where, and I want to say that I've heard Hayes tell this story. What it wasn't Hall of Fame, was it? He wouldn't have talked about the Linda urination in his Hall of Fame speech, would he?
Probably not.
I think he thanked Linda or made some type of passing reference to Linda in regards to that. But I want to say that I've heard Hayes talk directly about that somewhere, but I may be imagining that. It's
possible. Hey, one more thing. So I know we talked about this maybe last week. I finally got in the Jake the Snake Roberts Road to Redemption, or the Resurrection of Jake Roberts. It is so nice to watch AEW on Wednesday nights and to see him looking the way he does, having come back from what he did. I'm so happy to see him up there and healthy and doing it. And again, God bless DDP. I mean, if there isn't a guy that's not put up for, the Medal of Honor for taking care of the boys and making sure they're healthy. He took care of Scott Hall. He took care of Jake. I don't know who else he's helped, but Jake, I mean, if you go to DDP's YouTube page, Jake was still living at the house at some point during this COVID thing, because there's a quarantine spot where you get to see Jake the Snake Roberts in his underwear getting, I can't think of it right now, a bidet mist up the shooter. I mean, it's uncomfortable but hilarious.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go immediately to view that. That you really built it up for me there.
I was gonna say, I really built out your YouTube playlist today. Go find Pat McAfee and Adam Cole. Go watch Jake the Snake Roberts get a mist of air or water up his chute, and go Google some details from the plane ride from hell in WWE. Yeah, it's 18 years ago, actually. It was 2002. So
wow.
Boy, we've been everywhere, Matthew. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. But we're done. We've got to the end of the road. It's the last ride. It is time. For Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. Thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.